Developing confidence in your upper register on the trumpet is an incredibly important skill for you to master if you want to be able to maximize your performance on the trumpet. I've made some videos on my channel before where we talked about how to explore the upper register and how to approach it with healthy habits so that you can begin to find some success. But developing confidence in your upper register takes it to the next step. Having confidence means that you're able to nail anything in the upper register that comes across your stand, and that you believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that no matter what happens, you're gonna be able to tackle it and be successful. So in this video, I wanna share 4 different ways that you can work on developing confidence in your upper register. Understanding the information I'm gonna share in this video and making efforts to improve this skill is gonna make things like the opening title from Star Wars a lot more achievable. Just sitting there kinda cold, haven't played, being able to pick up the instrument and just nail that high B flat at the beginning. Before we dig into the actual methods themselves for developing confidence in the upper register, just want to take you through some of my thought process and how I came to these strategies to develop confidence. Part of my journey as a principal trumpet player and developing this confidence is really working to develop the skill of just nailing a note out of nowhere. Not necessarily working up to a high note or needing it to be soft or loud, but really spending time in my practice sessions picking these notes off in various contexts. I felt that if I could produce that sound without needing much of a runway, so to speak, and I could reproduce that success in the practice room over and over, I would be able to think to myself when I'm performing, I've done this a whole bunch of times in my practice session and been successful. There's no reason I can't be successful now. As a result, the framework for this video is gonna be from that bias. We're gonna be talking about exercises that I have found to be helpful to develop that ability to just nail a high note out of the blue. The first way we're gonna discuss that you can use to develop more confidence in your upper register is a variation of the Chickowitz flow studies. In general, I think these are used as a warm-up, or they can also be a substitute for long tones because this is like a long tone, but it's a little bit more dynamic. You're moving around from note to note, and you're looking to be able to develop a consistent, full, beautiful, resonant sound on every single note that you play. But these exercises, as they are written, only consist of slurring from one note to another. Sure, you could start the exercise and work your way up to the top note and hold that note and then continue back down. But to develop confidence, I found a very simple adjustment you can make that works really well. You're gonna perform the flow studies pretty much like you normally would, except for when you get to the top note, you're just gonna add some articulations when you get up there. At first, I would recommend adding just one articulated note at the top, and when you become better at coordinating that and you feel more comfortable, you can add more notes over time. When you're performing this and adding these articulations, I would recommend trying to keep the notes as connected or as long as possible while trying to keep a very clear and coordinated articulation when you are articulating. In other words, try not to leave a huge space before the articulated note. Try to have it be connected. The main reason I incorporated this into my own practice and why I like it so much is that you're approaching the upper register from a place of health. Instead of trying to force things and just pick these notes off when you don't know how to get up there in a healthy manner, you're figuring out how do I play a beautiful sound and keep that beautiful sound moving up, then how do I add these articulations? When you're adding the articulations, hopefully you'll realize over time that this is where this note actually is anytime that I would play it, and you begin to find a good healthy groove that you can rely on when you're trying to play these notes and don't have the lead up that you do in the flow studies. The second method to developing more confidence in your upper register is a little bit less exciting than flow studies, but I have found it to be incredibly effective, and that is just basic long tones. Why are long tones so good for upper register development? I can't tell you how many times I've been in the orchestra and come across a passage in a piece written by Tchaikovsky, Shostakovich, other composers like that, where we have to be able to nail a high note right out of the gate. Think something like the opening of Tchaikovsky's Fourth Symphony. Moments like this can be nerve-wracking if you don't have that confidence built up. But what I can do is think back to all of the times I've been successful playing long tones and picking these notes off in my practice sessions, and then just apply that confidence to the situation and feel a lot better about my chances. To me, for notes to be considered long tones, you have to play them for a long time, so think something between maybe 4 and 8 seconds. Some possible reasons for missing high notes when you're doing long tones is you might not have enough air support, your corners might not be firm enough to support your good, healthy air support, or maybe you're using a vowel that is a little bit too open and you're not taking advantage of the compression that you might need to get these notes to be easy. If you commit to consistently doing long tones in your practice sessions, I know over the course of a couple of months, you're gonna see progress toward feeling more confident in your upper register. I've got a video where I actually go through my entire long tone routine in the format where I play and then you can play. So if you want to play along with me, I'll leave that video linked down below as well. The third method that you can use to develop more confidence in your upper register is similar to long tones, and that is timing drills. Instead of holding a note out for 4 to 8 seconds like you do in long tones, timing drills, you focus more on getting a great attack and then holding the note for 1 or maybe 2 seconds. This is gonna be a little more challenging than long tones because you just have less time to center it, less time to find the pitch. So it's gonna expose players who have weaknesses in quickly finding the resonant center of their pitch on the trumpet. When I do this, I personally like to set a metronome and I like to count off 3 counts in my head, breathe on beat 4, then release on beat 1 and hold it for a full quarter note. So 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. You can do timing drills all over the range of the instrument and they're incredibly valuable, but with a focus on upper register confidence, I would perform 5 notes in the upper register, one after another, with whatever tempo you want. You can use the same one I just described, and then move on to a different note and keep repeating the process, looking for as much consistency as you can find. It is really helpful to be as intentional as possible with this process. So try to breathe about the same way, try to release in the same manner. Reducing inconsistency in your setup will increase consistency of your playing overall. I've got a video on timing drills and talking about why they're so valuable for your trumpet playing. If you want a little bit deeper dive on timing drills, I will leave that video linked down below in the description. The fourth and final method that we're going to discuss in this video for how to develop confidence in the upper register is to use something like the interval studies from the Arbin book. I think these are great in general and they're super fun to play, but when you get into the upper register, they can get quite challenging. I recommend starting slowly at first with these and then developing some consistency with the way you do it, and then I would worry about trying to speed things up and go faster and challenge yourself in that way. With the particular exercise that I'm gonna share, try not to play it too pecky. You wanna try to play them as long and as connected as possible so we can get a lot of healthy practice playing the trumpet. I also like to group the notes in this exercise from the top note to the note below it. So thinking da da, dee da, dee da, dee da, dee da, dee da, dee da. This helps me really blow through that top note and play with plenty of support. Finally, try not to manipulate your face or your embouchure too much when doing this exercise. Focus on aiming your air in a slightly different place, keeping this nice and firm, and try not to drop your jaw or pivot your horn to get these intervals to happen. So you might ask at this point, Ryan, how do you know how to pick these exercises for upper register confidence? Well, I've just simply got a lot of experience practicing on my own, and I've got experience coaching others and seeing what works. If you want to know how I set up practice routines and choose exercises for various goals, click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next video.